bit of an update of where we're at on this car. 1988 Ford Laser TX3 that I have put a Barra in. It used to be front wheel drive, and now I've cut the firewall out, boxed it all in, and squeezed that in there. Couple of things to note on the front end while we're here. This channel is a BA cover that I've cut out myself and welded the aluminium in some R35 coils instead of buying an FG one. See if it works. I mean, I'm budget, and it's something different. I deleted the oil cap. I'm using the alternator as the tensioner, so I've cut and shut this so it fits in this bracket, and yeah, I can use that as a tensioner. And the belt doesn't have that much contact from the alternator up and around to this idler pulley, but for an NA application it could be okay, who knows. If that doesn't work, if it slips, I am going to just go straight to an electric water pump. Also being NA, an electric water pump would be alright, and it'll just make all this a lot more simpler and look really clean, which is super neat. So instead of the belt going around there like that, it will literally just go from the crank pulley to the alternator pulley. I haven't done the exhaust yet, but it's going to be tight, that's for sure. So I'm thinking 90-degree bends straight out the side, and then run down to the pretty much flush with the bottom of the chassis, and then a log style out to the rear end, probably side exit. Steering rack is an interesting one because this used to be front wheel drive. I've had to also notch the sump out. 300ml of oil in the sump, which doesn't really show on the dipstick, so yeah, should be right. So that's the steering rack, and it's just a bit of angle iron with an 80s Mazda / Ford steering rack on there. Thread adaptation from the Mazda to this is where it gets interesting. So yes, because it was front wheel drive, the steering rack used to come through here. I couldn't have that on here because it wouldn't have fit like on this end, which was sweet. But then how do I swap this over? Do I just put drivers on passenger side? No, well, essentially what I've gone with is a Subaru hub, and that also enables me to have bigger brakes on this, a whole different stud pattern to an array of wheels than what I could have got. Subaru suspension as well, heaps of aftermarket again. Funny thing is though, the lower control arms are Ford Laser. I've made an adapter in here that goes from Ford Laser to Subaru, and I'll put up a photo of that. It's pretty sweet. It's welded in there, and then this is bolted on like factory. If that does fail, which hopefully it doesn't, I will then thread it and weld it, thanks to a mate's suggestion. So that being Subaru, and this being Subaru, that being Ford / Mazda, come up to the strut tower, top mounts. They're actually the original Ford Laser, which bolt onto the Subaru strut tower, like the top of it. Insane. Moving over to the intake side, that's a bit of a secret until it runs. It is using the OEM, I don't really want to say it because someone else will probably get it going before me, but it's the intake manifold for a BA, but I've cut and shut it and I've turned into individual throttle bodies, and I've used the electronic throttle body, and there's a linkage in there, and it's all, yeah, it's pretty sweet. You can probably be able to guess what's going on there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, it's unique, you know, it looks pretty cool. Really looking forward to that point in time, and I reckon you guys will be as well. Moving inside the cabin, all custom. The dimples add strength. This will be where the gear shifter will be, a bunch of controls, and then there'll be a flap to the back of the motor to work on. The seats are going to be interesting because they need to be quite narrow to clear this. You cannot go any closer with the metal there. The pedals in, electronic obviously, that will work on the individual throttle bodies, which is pretty sweet. And that's pretty much it. You've already seen the back end of it. Yeah,